Hey, how's it going, everybody? I thought I would do the third installment, third installment of drawing the Prud'hon. And so yesterday I was drawing, and the day before I printed out a black and white version. And today I was like, let's print out a color version, and I'll show you guys how I build the white chalk onto the figure as well, so we can make it look like white chalk and I guess graphite. No, it's black chalk and white chalk drawing by Prud'hon. And so we have this, and I have my iPad right here. There's the iPad with the sketch from yesterday and the day before. Did I do it in? I think it was every day in the last few days. Anyway, just to kind of show you those steps. Really quick, I want to show you guys what I'm working on in the studio, and I'm working on a video right now on transferring a drawing onto a piece of wood, which is a guitar. And so this is a digital drawing that I did right there, and I'll show you guys how I transfer it with red chalk. And so there's the transfer of the drawing. Pretty cool. And so I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I'm pretty much just going to edit that soon, probably in the next few days, and then start painting on this project, which will be really good. This is a Novo guitar. It's a Solus 1. They call it M1, Solus M1. So it's going to have a P90 pickup for those that care. And the pickup's going to be right about there, where the ear would be for the skeleton. Awesome. I'm going to look at the comments and everything. If you guys are out there live, I'd love to hear from you guys. And we'll go into the sketch. So I'm using Procreate again. Now let's bring it up on the screen. Click to start the iPad. Great. So I'm going to bring the reference up again. I just did a funny, I've been playing around with different tripod arms and such that I guess we can almost do it life size, even though I'm going to be zooming in and out, so I don't want to cover it over. So there's my version, and there's the original version. And then I don't know if you guys want to see me. Maybe I'll put myself over here. I'm probably going to cover up. Let me see if I can change my... Can you guys hear me all right out there? I can change my picture size. I can make it round. That's really tiny. There we go. Actually, I like round. It's kind of neat. No hard edges. Awesome. So again, having my reference literally right next to the drawing, I'm going to try to do this. Again, comments are open if you guys want to comment. Now, I don't have the exact same paper color as what the drawing is, but I think that's okay. What's neat now is like I can actually have the reference is much bigger, so I can kind of zoom in. And I always have my size at 100% for my... Oh, you know what? You're not going to be able to see when I'm changing opacity and such. Maybe I'll make myself right there. I don't know if you guys even need to see me. My opacity changes depending on what I want, and then my size always changes based on what I want. And I still kind of want to develop some of the darks and such in here, and I'm using a Derwent pencil, which comes stock in Procreate, as well as a Derwent eraser, which is stock in Procreate. Kind of want to go through all those right away. I'm sure people will ask me later about them. So there you go. There's the info. Coming in here, thinking about the darks now a little bit better in the eyes. And this kind of structure right through here, the underplane of the eye. And change the opacity just a little bit. He's got, his eyes are kind of really built within this kind of structure of, it's very abstract. It's very much about the shape of the orbital cavity, which is actually really something beautiful to learn, is that it's all about shape versus features when we draw. this comes in and over, come in with the eraser a little bit here, just to always keeping it the same. I can trim away at what we had from yesterday. So I'm kind of redrawing stuff based on seeing it better, which is kind of awesome. Making sure we're on the right layer as well. This is the layer that I did based on thinking about the direction of everything yesterday. And I think I'm going to do a different layer for the white chalk today, which will be neat. I've never actually done this before, so this will be kind of a little bit of a challenge. We'll see. I've worked mostly just subtractively within the iPad realm of drawing. It will be interesting to think about form as just like I do when I paint from the models or draw from models in the studio. This tucks in. So my wife is in her studio back there. It's kind of funny. I was trying out this new tripod thing that I kind of rigged up for the iPhone, because the iPhone does this really cool thing where it does a continuity camera, and so it's actually on right here connected to my broadcast software. And it's neat because now I can put the camera everywhere, and the iPhone camera is really great, really surprising, because whenever I go on Instagram Live, the camera sucks. Doing it on here, it's been really surprisingly clear, which is awesome. Making sure that the reference is vertical as much as possible so that I'm not messing up angles. Thinking about I'm pulling into the arm now. Okay, so let's get some of the variations, the very subtle variations in the brush. Hey Chris, how's it going? Thanks for coming in, checking out. Chris is awesome. He has his own YouTube channel, which is insanely helpful. You guys should all check it out. Chris Clamp is the channel. I don't know if you can type in your channel in the comment section. It'd be awesome for people to see. Chris worked at a gallery pretty closely for a long time and has all these insights on getting shown in galleries, as well as varnishing paintings. And I saw the last one was oiling out. Was we're kind of on this YouTube journey together, figuring it out. I just set up a shopping store on my page, which is pretty fun, except it's not showing the right products, and it won't let me change the products that it's showing. It's showing, so I made these really cool hats based on artists I love. And so I have a Velasquez hat, oh thanks Chris for posting that. I have the store, I'll post it right here actually. It's kind of neat, except they keep posting the wrong. See if you guys can see this. Actually, I need help if you guys click on the link, tell me what artist I'm missing in the comments. I have some pretty funny, it's super nerdy, super art nerdy stuff. And I think my wife was cute. She said that I'm just making merch that I want to buy. And I love museum gift shops for some reason. I just think all the stuff is hilarious. That's all based around art. And that's kind of like what these hats, and I'm going to make shirts, I think, also just for fun, is all about. Hey, how's it going? Militia and Kurolos. I'm horrible at names. I'm going to be butchering them. I apologize, guys. But it's great to see you guys. I think I saw you guys in the last feed that I did. Oh, and Shayna's paint is coming out great, right? She's incredible. I gotta convince her to come on the channel. I might just do the spy cam thing every day. Our studios, right now we share a studio while mine's being built, and I'm gonna miss seeing her. So if I have a camera up there all the time, it's not creepy if it's your wife, right? That's still creepy. Oh, you hear the dogs coming in. Today our general contractor is sick, so no progress on the studio today in the backyard. I miss getting one of those Guild of Parallel palette hats. That was cool. Oh, maybe I'll do a reissue. That was actually drawn by my friend Elle Gray. She did this really cool, at that time it was about, I wanted a seal, like for the guild, and that was fun. That's a blast from the past. Kind of thinking about the head. My son was on here yesterday, and he's like, "Dad, you got to finish the face on the painting or on the drawing." I'm like, "Yes, I do." I was like, he's like, "You mentioned it. You said you were going to do it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, then I got to do it." Softening up some of these searching lines still from the original. If I were to do this again, I'm thinking I would have used a different layer for some of these lines here. But my eraser, I don't have it's not digging into the paper that much. My wife's watching. She's a big Buffalo Bills fan and football fan, and so she's watching sports radio or sports TV, ESPN and everything right now. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Just coming here, just knocking that in. I'm going to probably do a full eraser kind of variation over most of this area to soften up some of these edges. I think that's good for the face right now. I don't need to get every hair because I'm going to come back in. I'm more concerned with proportions. Now I'm going to come down into the arm and really build that up. This is the reference that I'm using again, guys, right there. So I figure we're going to do another hour or so. See how far we get. Just knocking in the stuff that I kind of want to do just to put the finishing touches on this. I posted the time lapse of this on my Patreon page. If you guys want to see a 30-second time lapse of the whole project so far. Really trying to push the Patreon page because I have a lot of content on there. I just posted my palette, my Fleshstone palette, onto the Patreon page too. I think it's like $5 a month or something. I forget what the different levels are. I'm going to kind of revamp that and start posting a lot more content on there. Thinking about ways to make learning accessible and affordable for folks. Coming into this part of the elbow, softening that out. You're only hearing me? Awesome. Cool. I don't know, everyone's weirding me out by this whole demonetized because of they hear a song in the background or something. And I think we're very close to being monetized. I think in the next week or so for watchable hours. I think these lives are great for watchable hours. So I appreciate you guys jumping on here and hanging out. Chris, there's a tip. Lives are good. I'm part of the partnership program now because of they let me put a store on there. So the store is the hats and stuff like that. They just won't let me post. They keep showing the back of the hats and not the front of the hats. So it's kind of funny. The technical stuff that bums me out. Softening up these edges again. We're kind of getting rid of the line of these borders, right? Of these forms, and we're turning them into one value into another value. And so I'm softening up these edges these lines that I have, these drawing lines, and then I'm going to turn them into forms. Think about how this kind of comes in a little bit more of an angle. It gets a little softer. Great, thanks, Chris. Yeah, Chris had the idea for doing using the iPhone is amazing. Like the quality is incredible. I was using a Canon A7 III, and the quality's good, but it's not for streaming like this. Actually, and you guys saw the video I posted about the spying on my wife. The quality is really pretty high quality there, and so that's the camera I'm going to use in my studio. Is just my iPhone. Almost like probably should just buy a new iPhone, or my iPhone's I think a 14, and the quality's that good. I could just buy one of those as a separate camera. See if I can get one on eBay or someone selling theirs. Hang out at the Apple store for someone who's trading theirs in, and give them an extra $50 versus what the Apple pays when you do your trading. Plan on doing more live streams soon. I have some business I have had to take care of lately, but we'll be on it soon. Yeah, Chris, I hope everything's okay, man. I got you. It sounded. I was a little concerned when on one of your comments that you made. I hope everything works out, and that hopefully everyone's healthy, happy, and okay. If not, sending love. Obviously, you're definitely. I've been thinking about you. Thinking about these little subforms in here. Just kind of movement right through there. This is really nice. And sorry about all the tapping. I'm going to play around with these. I just bought a new iPad protector. I don't know if you guys can see me. This Protector. They're magnetic. I haven't opened it yet. I had one that I was using that was okay, but it started getting kind of just beat up from me using the iPad. So I'm going to try that out for probably the next live stream, which I think I want to do a funny thing. I think I'm going to draw Santa for the holiday from a Sunbloom Santa, which is a Coca-Cola Santa, which would be kind of fun. Any excuse to just draw and study he's one of probably the most amazing illustrators out there. Him, Norman Rockwell, that whole period of illustration was the golden age of illustration. Dean Cornwell, Frank Schoonover, Howard Pyle, N.C. Wyeth. There's like so many epic guys that were illustrating in that time period. It's sad that we don't have illustration like that anymore, really. Hey, gorgeous.
Hi.
You can only stream with one phone at a time. I tried to use a second phone to add another angle and it didn't work. Oh, interesting. Oh, that makes sense. Because the continuity camera, right? Because I think it probably only reads one camera that's associated with your Apple ID. I think. That would be my guess. I think, and actually then you wouldn't be able to check emails or anything with the camera anyway, I think, or with a separate iPhone. That's kind of why I wanted it. Was like, I'd love to be able to just be able to check email while I'm painting or whatever, but then also have the camera on me. Thinking about the shape in here. This pulls forward. Kind of getting into the weeds a little bit. Hey Rob, how's it going? I love it. You guys are so awesome. It's like the same crew popping on here, hanging out. You can see I'm like the tapping. I don't know if you guys hear the tapping on the screen. It's like there's a tapping and then a screeching on the glass. It's back and forth. Kind of neat to kind of see. I printed this out in color, which is kind of nice, Rob. So I printed it out in color so that it looks very similar. Actually, if you look at the little circle in the reference, it looks very similar to the reference on the screen. Oh, right on. Oh, art installing and stuff. That's actually pretty cool. I think you could probably, I mean, it sounds like you know most about that stuff already, but I try to look at the bright side of everything. And doing art installation is always something to learn, I would think. Like the YouTube thing, I'm like learning a ton with all this stuff. I get obsessed about stuff, kind of like drawing and painting, and now I'm kind of figuring all this stuff out. I was talking to one of my favorite, it's funny, one of my favorite YouTubers today, who put out a course on that I bought on how to set up a YouTube channel and whatever. And his name's Keith Williams, and he has a website or a channel called 5 Watt World, and it's all about music and guitars and everything. And he's very good friends with Rick Beato, who has a big music channel also, who interviews famous people and everything, famous musicians. And he's been kind of helping me on my channel, and because this is great, right? So you buy a class. I think the class was like $199. Pretty not kind of not steep, but kind of steep. I don't buy workshops very often, but he's been helping me out, and he does a live feed with all of his students once a month, where you can bring questions to him. So it's like this organic living workshop rather than just a video series that he puts out that you watch. And I've learned a lot. I have so much content I want to do because of watching his stuff. So just to show you guys kind of where I'm at, I'm darkening up that part of the arm. I think I'm going to go in with the white chalk now. It's going good, apart from I still can't draw portraits. Oh, hey Jay, how's it going? Sorry, I'm late on all the comments here. Speaking of illustrations, have you seen the war illustrations from the Winnie the Pooh artist? I haven't seen those. Definitely gotta check those out. I've seen Dean Cornwell's war stuff. There's that line again. So the glove, the jury's still out on the glove, if I like it or not, the iPad glove. Cool. So I'm gonna go in with white chalk. I've never tried this before, but I think it'll be fun. OBS, thinking second phone using OBS didn't work. Maybe. I don't know if the camera will work, a separate camera. I don't think I've seen a comic strip in a newspaper in years. I haven't seen a newspaper in years. I used to, when I lived in New York, we get the Times and everything, but not in Albuquerque. I think my neighbor was getting it, actually, the Times, now that I think about it. I never stole her paper off her driveway. Everyone's got guns out here. Okay, cool. So this is going to be fun. So I'm going to try this on a different layer. We're opening up a layer. Oops. New layer. And we're just going to use white. Now, what I think is cool, it's going to be very similar, I believe, to white charcoal pencils that I use from Generals. In fact, that now my reference is, it's not super clear. It's a little bit crunched. Let's see. Hey, artist, I'm from Egypt. How can I send you pictures that I draw? I really like to show them to you. I wish I had time to look at everyone's art. I don't know if I have time, unfortunately. So, thinking about how, definitely post on Instagram, though, if you can. Thinking about how the light pulls over top of this form right here. Thinking of the white. What's kind of interesting about the... yeah, this is very similar to working with the white chalk from Generals. Just softening up edges. Now, the paper in the reference is like a 5 value, maybe slightly lighter than 5. And it is neat because it if we're only working subtractively, and stop if I've probably said this before because I talk about this one on the other in the other workshop. We're only using when we use like a tone paper and everything, we're only using a mid-tone value. If we go into white chalk, then we start to build up values that are 10, 10, and like 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So our main value is, mid value is 5. And so by adding the white chalk, we can up the value into a higher range. I don't know if that makes any sense. And so instead of erasing right now, we're adding the white chalk and the linear quality of the white chalk to the sketch. And it's helping me to see where this gets softer through here. And I'm just hatching along with the white chalk. This form pulls into here and then hits this dark edge. And then this dark edge kind of molds around this edge right through here into the arm. Again, thinking about the curve of that form. Coming up into the shoulders a little more. This would be neat because I think it's going to add that color texture to the drawing that we have in the reference that you guys can see on the left hand side. And it's going to kind of soften and knit these forms together in a more sophisticated way. Kind of moving my arm up here a little bit, using my knee as a maul stick. So I'm actually thinking I gotta do a video on how I make a maul stick, which would be kind of neat. Basically a steady stick for our hands while we work. I think I gotta see if Shayna was using one in her video, in the spy video, at her easel. I'm suspecting that she probably was. This comes down and over. I think I might pull some more darks in here. Let's see how it looks from far away. Yeah, we're starting to build up more light onto his shoulders. Now there's a lot more light through this, the latissimus dorsi. I hate saying fancy Latin words. Through here. And I'm using the pencil is very upright so that I get a nice sharp linear quality to the white. And at this stage I'm kind of still being pretty, this gets a little bit, I'm actually using the little tape rolls as my maul stick so that they don't mess with the iPad so much as even my hand was doing when I was doing that before. See, it's kind of turning it slightly blue-ish, but the gray is really nice because it mimics very much the reference. This comes over, softens out into here. The more chalk I put on, the lighter it gets. And so it softens out these edges. This pulls this way, and I'm thinking what is the overall movement of the forms. And what's great about the Prud'hon is that it has a linear quality to it, so that we can kind of, it gives us a little bit of a guide. softens this edge right through here. This picks up a little bit of a soft edge right through there. That question. I probably missed this, but when hatching, how do you decide which direction? That's what we're talking about right now. Just kind of the overall sculptural form. And what's great about, again, the reference is that it kind of shows us, right? Because we can see those lines in those shadows. And so I'm using that as a guide here. Within a real figure, we have a lot of texture that we see. You can see we're starting to build it up. I'm going to come in and go back to the first layer here and put in some underlying darks, because I don't have the underlying darks for some areas here. And so I'm going to change the opacity to be pretty low, and I'm going to come in and kind of knock in, oops, I'm still on white, and move into dark. Come in and think about what's going on with these structures underneath here a little bit. You see that in the arm and how this pulls in. Still even a little bit lighter. This is a really cool shape in here. And so the shapes are kind of, because I have the structure pretty well established, I can come in with these subforms, thinking about how this is going to turn that way. And I can exaggerate these forms as well right now, because I'm going to come in and soften them. All right, so you see, if we squint at what we have versus what we see, it looks pretty good. I soften that out right through there, right through here. That shape looks pretty good. Thinking about how the light is hitting that form, that's also what we're thinking about. So the light, I'll show you guys this really quick. With the light hitting right here, light, and then shadow, right? So light hits here and blankets across this edge, blankets across this edge, right? Moves into here like that. So that's the concept of where I'm kind of thinking about the line quality. Ooh, Dur. I have to make a hat for Dur. I love the thumbnail you created. It made me chuckle. It's clickbaity, but with a lot of charm. That's funny. Thanks, man. I'm kind of I have to do the clickbaity stuff, unfortunately. I think it's. I almost was thinking about it as almost parody. I wanted to. That's way too late. Sorry, guys. I was thinking it'd be really funny to do a parody YouTube channel where there's like no content added, no value added, where it's just a bad drawer or whatever. But then I thought, I don't know, I only have time to do a good channel that's useful. What was that one? Form to light, I don't know, living something, I forgot. That's like the worst part of the whole YouTube thing. I love teaching. I love drawing in front of people. This is so much fun for me, as long as there's people on the other end. So doing like the videos where I'm showing you guys how to gesso something or whatever. I want to do all that stuff live because I don't have to edit my ums and uhs and everything. But doing the thumbnails has been challenging. Like, what's a good image to use that's going to grab something? I still don't have anything that's kind of quote unquote viral at all. So, and AI actually comes up with some titles. I've tried using AI to come up with thumbnail titles. They're usually pretty bad. This gets a lot lighter. What's really cool about this, having this on another layer, look, this is kind of neat. So we're starting to build it up. I can squint now and and decide if I need more light over some of these areas. And so I'm going to, just so I can get my hand to do a better gesture, tilt it so I can send a line across everything just to unify some of these darks together. Because I see that it gets a lot lighter than I have it. And what that does is it kind of softens everything out. So Jay, did you see the video? I think its best approach would probably use dad jokes. That's very fitting. The one of they made my drawing kit. So I posted a video yesterday for my drawing kit, and I actually used my face because they say use your face on stuff, and I'm like, really? Okay. And I'm holding a box, but it's got a question mark on it. I'm like, this is fun. So you see that what I did there is I kind of unified everything. Now, what's really cool for me, and I think it's totally cheating, but not really, is that on my screen right here, I can see a comparison of the two. I can see mine versus Prud'hon's. It's different when I zoom in, but I can look at areas and say this arm gets a little bit lighter. In fact, actually the web version is probably better to look at than the reference in my hand. It's a little bit closer to, I think printouts are never perfect. I'm actually going to come in and just kind of knock in some of the lights. Oh, I saved something that I thought was really neat. This morning I was thinking about this, the live that we were going to do today. And I thought, I think I talked about this one image yesterday, about a Prud'hon that was super early on with the white chalk. So let me zoom this out, and I'm going to put this on the screen real fast. So check this out, right? So this is an early Prud'hon, like early steps, right? Do you see how just loose he is with the white chalk in the very beginning? How to might be tested. Oh, the box with the question mark. Thanks. I actually was kind of proud of that thumbnail. In here, do you guys just see how it literally just, if you squint at it from a distance, like I'm doing right now on the screen, it looks pretty cool. It's organizing your lights and your darks. And this is just probably he probably gestured it in, right? Proportions really accurately. And then he was like, okay, now here's my darks. Knocked it in with a sense of the rhythm, right? I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. A sense of the rhythm of the forms, and then he went over top of it with the white chalk to kind of highlight things. And I think from that basis, you can start to bridge those subtleties to get, this is really cool too. I saved this one for you guys. Look at this torso, right? And so what happens is that the line quality is like super loose, and it gets more subtle as you start to work. And what I love is these hatching marks, right? And so that's kind of what I took away from looking at Prud'hon when I was a student, and how I developed my drawings. I'm trying to think if I even have one of my drawings on here I can show you guys where it's pretty drastic. I know I'm supposed to be drawing, but I probably have it in my downloads. I just did a lecture, a career lecture. I went through my, I guess, 24 years of being an artist. And it was with an illustration site. And so I had to grab all these old images of my art from when I started. I might post that if you guys, I might edit it down. I think it was about an hour and a half that I talk about all how I got into museums and showing my work. Yeah, I don't have it on here. Shoot. Maybe it's on my desktop. Sorry, guys. I'll just grab a drawing from my images folder here. Oh, you know what? I know exactly where it is. It will be on my iPad. So 1 second here. I'm going to bring it up on my iPad. So that the whole subtlety of using those lines. So on my iPad, I have the presentation. I have too many media now. So to kind of show you guys early on, using these hatch lines, this was an eye drawing of mine with graphite, self-portrait. This guy I'm going to just shrink down just a little bit. But it's all hatched. This is all, you use an eraser to hatch away at different areas. Curios. So I'm actually doing a workshop on how to paint the eye coming up. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So just using that sense of line quality, and this was for a magazine article on how to paint the lips and how to draw the lips. And so I kind of kept everything very, very linear as I was drawing it, just to kind of see what I could get away with. And you can see how you can make this very, very subtle as well. I could keep going with the line quality and the turn of everything to capture that sense of rhythm and subtlety, right? But in between the eyes, the subtlety of that dark fading into that gray. Again, this was painted on gray paper, or drawn on gray paper. Really, really, really fun little project. Jay asks a question. This might be a long question to answer, but wondering how you started your career and where you studied and who was your mentor. In addition, what was something you were obsessed with when you were studying? For me, I was obsessed with getting proportions right. Wow, yeah, I'm gonna do a whole video on this, so stay tuned. But the actually it'd be a great video, live video, I think, to go through the presentation, because this kind of shows a lot of some of my old work that I can kind of bring up on the screen real quick, and then compare that with my newer work that I'm working on. Like, this was a live study from a workshop I just gave in Houston. So that's from the live model versus other stuff that's from photographs. You know what I mean? This is Jen and it's from a photo. But you can still see where there's hatching, right? And line quality. Yeah, so I was obsessed with proportions. This is John, who I'm painting right now. This is a study for John. Yeah, so definitely obsessed with proportions, obsessed with stuff like we're doing right here in the class. I think I want to teach these online kind of sessions to be similar to what I was obsessed with. So I was obsessed with this idea. I would go and look at Prud'hon at the Met in New York, at the drawing library that they have at the Met, and copy Prud'hon's in my sketchbook. I think I showed. I'm not sure if I just did a sketchbook tour, and I had some of those in the sketchbook tour, I believe. And so that's something I was obsessed with. I studied at the Art Students League with Harvey Dinnerstein, and he was not really a mentor so much to me. This is what happens when I touch the screen by accident. He wasn't. I mean, but I learned so much from him. My mentor as like a professional artist has been this guy John Nava, and he's just more like a friend who we just talk about art all the time together, and we've exhibited together. And he lives in Ojai, California, and he's an amazing painter that I saw when I was in college, and I saw his work when I was in college, and I was blown away. And then I think I just reached out to him on email or something like that, and we just became friends. And so we text back and forth all the time. This comes in and over like that. This part of the rib cage comes in. I hope that kind of is a short response, but meaningful response to a great question. Yeah, proportions definitely are something to obsess about, because I think that, honestly, if you just obsess about the basics, you're going to be good, because everything is really built on the basics. Because I understand kind of what's going on with the shadow, and I can see the value that I want within these areas, and I can squint to see how they relate with one another. that's a super basic skill. So maybe a video on how the basics can help us develop more living art. I think that so if we love like Rembrandt and everything, he just had a better grasp of the basics than we do. That's what made him great. They're not as fun, but maybe they are. You know what I mean? Like sitting and doing proportion stuff and studies. I'm excited to, in my studio, I'm gonna have I'm gonna try to get like a TV on a stand that's like movable around the studio that I can just, I don't know, throw up like a Caravaggio painting and just draw it for a day, because that'd be fun. Drawing this is so much fun for me. Doing these underlays of darks right now, because I was seeing in the on the screen that it's a little bit darker through the shoulder area as it comes forward. Gonna have some coffee. Talking too much. Yeah, definitely check out John Nava's work. He's great. He does these huge tapestries also of his work, and he actually was super freaking cool and made me one of these giant tapestries for a show that we were in together. And so he goes to Belgium and works on these tapestries with a digital loom. And he's done tapestries for Chuck Close, Kiki Smith, all these famous artists, and David Casson, which is kind of cool, just to be mentioned in the same sentence as them. But guys, check out those hats in that link and tell me what you think of those. I'm so curious if it's a waste of time. I'm like, have fun just at night. I've just been kind of doing one or two a day. They're kind of fun. Just get softer through here and just hatching. Kind of, I always say I'm kind of swinging through the stroke when I hatch, so that there's what I mean by that is this idea that I'm not just stopping at the form. My line, if you look at how my pen is moving here, I'm kind of zooming through the edges, and I want it light instead of dark there. So that way there's like this interconnection of the forms, just like what we learned from the Prud'hon. Also, what are some cool titles for this thumbnail? Is it digital? I don't know. Thinking about this part of the torso now. It's so cool. As I squint, how is that? It's a little bit dark, a little bit lighter actually, sorry. As it come through the full torso. This edge through here. This guy's totally got a dad body. I was reading about, so I made a hat with the thinker on it from Rodin, and looking up images of the thinker online, I came up to this woman did a review of the thinker, and she was like, it looks like a guy who forgot his iPhone when he was going to the bathroom. Contemplating the agony of having to sit there without a phone, which I used to do as a kid because we didn't have phones. That's why you bring reading material. Classic. But now that I think about it, this looks like a guy who's sitting on a toilet also. Pulling the light through the leg. I'm going to juice up the light a little bit more with some more opacity here. And just as I tap, it'll be a little bit of a lighter, quicker movement, which will make the hatch a little bit lighter. A little bit more transparent. Going through that torso again. This area gets a little bit darker, I'm noticing. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. This is kind of like an odd little kidney shape in here. Switch to, oh, I'm on the overlayer. So this will be kind of cool. I can probably see where I've messed up and put white chalk down by accident. Let's see what this looks like. So with, without. It's kind of neat. We're starting to bring up the light and value. If we squint, this looks okay. Everything's in the right place, but see how much more subtle that is? That's cool. Back in the good old days, I did my homework in the washroom. I think the Game Boy came out right at the right time. Yes. Game Boys are awesome. With Tetris. Pulling some of the light into that far arm. It's hard to tell if he used a lot of white chalk. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a super high res version of this drawing. So I have a version that's a little bit kind of slightly blurry, but I think it's alright. His leg, I'm going to flip like this because the angle of the white chalk is very much turning like this. So, pro tip, if you're working from photos as a painter in your studio, you can flip your painting upside down and see it completely abstractly. If you saw the spy video from earlier today of Shayna working in her studio, I can flip the reference here too. She has everyone's like, why is it on its side? Why is the painting on its side? Because she's flipping it so she can see the shapes better in some of the areas as she's painting it. So we tend to rotate our art different ways to be able to get different handwriting, different ways. It's just super helpful. There you go. There's 5 tips for figure drawing from photos from Masterworks. I apologize for the titles of the thumbnails that are coming in advance. This gets a little bit lighter through here. Hopefully you guys can still see what's going on. Cool. This gets a little lighter through here. One thing with the iPad I've noticed. Oh, my camera is dying. How am I doing actually? Am I already almost an hour? Let me plug my camera in really quick just to make sure it doesn't die. Oops, over on this side. Awesome. So we'll go about an hour. I think that'll be plenty of me babbling about the sketch. And then I'd love to see you guys. I might next week for the holidays. I'm going to draw the Sunbloom Santa because that'll be a lot of fun. Again, just stuff that I kind of want to study and look at, and it's festive for the holiday. Although my wife and I are Jewish, we love holiday movies. My wife especially. This is the first year that I haven't always loved them. This is the first year I'm leaning in to holiday movies. And so they're pretty cool this year. Coming in here, and I'm darkening up some of the undertones again. So just moving back and forth between light and dark. Oops, I want that to be I want that to be dark. Sorry. Hey Chris, how's it going? Long time no see. Thinking about how this turns on that shoulder right there. I'm gonna erase away a little bit of that and just tapping it to get that to erase, to soften. Really can get a lot of subtlety within the sketch. I'm squinting at that arm, and this gets a little bit lighter through here. So we're going to do that, and then lighter through here. This outside edge here. That's cool. Come back in, refresh some of those darks to build the subtlety up over the light. And so this is always just like within most drawing, it's push and pull. Same with painting. I'll overpaint a dark and then paint the light over top of it just to connect forms. This form dips into the shadow, so we're going to dip that into the shadow right here. I'm pressing down a little bit harder because I want it to be darker. Again, we're working on the dark now, the dark underplane. I can show you guys layer 2 versus layer 1. So just to kind of put those darks and establish those a little bit better. Chris asks, what projects are you working on? You're not with a gallery anymore, no? I've been showing at other galleries. I've actually been concentrating more on the museum stuff than the gallery stuff lately. I left my New York gallery 2 years ago now, and I've just been selling on my own, which has been cool. But then other galleries, like I have stuff in a friend's gallery up in Santa Fe here, just some drawings, and I showed in a little gallery in New York for a friend's group show called Arcadia, and I've just been kind of chilling, just doing group shows for fun. The museum stuff's been kind of taking over. So I have a show right now currently in Houston at the museum, the Houston, actually Holocaust Museum Houston. It's always a mouthful. And that has most of the, actually like 10 years worth of paintings in that show. And the big 18-foot painting is in that show. And then just building the studio and traveling. I should look for a gallery. I don't know. I'm trying to follow up on all those emails we all get, right? Like, I love your work. I want to NFT it. I actually did have one of those messages, and it sounded a little bit more real. And so I followed up and ended up selling a painting through one of those emails. The woman actually had seen one of my paintings at a collector's house in New Orleans on an art tour, and she lived in California, and she was like, when she got home, she messaged me about wanting to buy something. And that's a great, actually cool thing, is I sent her my Artwork Archive page, which I'm going to do a review of Artwork Archive. Such a great program, online resource for everybody who makes art, because it's very professional, and you can send it to collectors and they can see how much everything costs, and so you don't waste their time or your time by saying, well, this is what the actual price is, and they get a good full scope of things. But I think it'd be cool to do a little review of that. Let me see that shoulder. I don't love that. I love the undo button. Just get that dark up. 18-foot painting. Wow, that must have taken a... Yeah, it took about three years to paint the... I painted 11 survivors of Auschwitz. And so I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Flip it. It's looking pretty good. Getting that arm kind of established, which I kind of ignored yesterday. Still have this lower part of the arm, which is kind of neat. I see this gets a little darker through here. Yeah, so it took about 3 years to do this painting of 11 survivors of Auschwitz that I met with in Los Angeles, and we're doing a documentary film on that right now. I'm doing a painting hopefully for a museum that's local here, of one of the last code talkers, of John Kinsel, who recently unfortunately just passed away at 107 years old. And I've been painting him with a landscape, but I'm kind of holding off until I get my studio built in the backyard, because it's not a huge painting. It's like 70 by 50 inches. And so working on that as well. Doing some fun YouTube stuff. A lot of projects. How does the museum shows work? Do they pay you to exhibit? They do, actually. You get paid. Usually it's they call it an honorarium. But then also, if you package your show for museums, right? You have like an important topic, you can package your show, and you can make 30 to 40 grand or more, depending if the museum wants to show it, or how long they want to show it, how many pieces they want, how big they want the show to be. And that's just how you meet with them, and you kind of do an online proposal, like a PDF proposal, which I have all built out and everything. Kind of fun. So like it's more businessy type stuff than the art stuff, unfortunately. That'll be a different video. If we kind of scroll through here, kind of start at the top and then work my way down, right? So going to come in again with white chalk. It's kind of neat. Let's just see what the white chalk looks like. You can barely see it here. Actually, let's see it on, we'll change the background color to white, to black, and we can see what the white chalk looks like. And what that kind of also shows us is kind of the way that the back is being formed here with the light. Kind of interesting, right? And then put the paper back on there. You can barely see it. And then we have the base of the drawing. Let's get into this leg a little bit. And this is kind of the first layer of development. I would probably come back in and refine it even further. Again, starting from the top, working my way down. I'm going to use white again. And come in and think about softening up this calf muscle right in here with the white chalk. Because I see a little bit of a ghosting of white chalk on that part of the leg. How can I see the painting of the 11 survivors? I think I have it on Instagram, different parts in Instagram. I can show it on here really quick before we're done. But I gotta run soon. Have we been over an hour? Hour and 3 minutes. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the drawings on YouTube. I have drawings on here that were the studies for that painting. And the exhibit's kind of cool because it shows the process and stuff. I love like there's like little random lines through here. I'm going to come in and soften out some of these edges in here on this back foot. Any good thumbnail ideas, guys, that I should call this? Softening this through the calf right there. Still softening. Very, very light touch. So can any artist approach a museum with an idea that you have packaged or you have in from, or have you got in from other shows like the BP? Chris, I would love to do another video on this topic and stuff, but I kind of want to stay focused on the technical stuff here, the drawing, if that's okay, dude. I'll do a whole career thing later. I think but really quick though, it is build the proposal first. Have your ideas, have your paintings of it, have their paintings that are in the museum show, and then you can go and shop it. I don't think anything of mine's happened because of the BP portrait thing. Unfortunately, came in 3rd place, so I don't know. Still awesome, but it's coming into this edge right here, softening it out. Again, thinking about the line quality of what we have. So this line right in here, I'll show you guys just really quick what I'm thinking. When you have something like right there, that line right here, we want to get rid of that. That's kind of killing that sense of movement of form, right? So I'm going to take, we're on our charcoal layer, just the edge of the pencil. This is so much easier in real medium than it is digitally, and just soften that out. And soften that out. Your series of paintings of survivors. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the exhibition's pretty cool because it really gives them a voice, because you hear, I have all their testimony next to all the paintings, and so people end up spending like hours and hours in the museum learning about the survivors that I painted, and that's kind of awesome. And so I think that's something that kind of, again, helps sell the show, I guess, to people, is that it's accessible and important. I think important. Again, see this edge right in here, you guys can see my hover. I'm gonna just very, very light eraser come in and just knock that back. We want to get rid of, there's some line quality we want to keep, these kind of knitting lines into the shadows, but we also want to create form, have it have more curve to it, more movement rather than a line. No, we started with a block in and we're making form now. Same here with this part of the leg. I might just do this, and then this part of the leg in here gets a lot lighter using the eraser to soften. Oops, that was my arm touching the screen. I'm going to put a little bit more, I would say, juice, so it can, the eraser you can see it a little bit better. And again, tilting the reference and the painting, because I'm better at up and down stroke versus sideways. Except when I paint, I'm better horizontally. So it's just kind of, you can really tell a lot about, almost like if an artist is right-handed or left-handed, by the strokes that they find more comfortable, and that you can see that are more comfortable within artwork that they do. It's kind of neat. So this is like something that's just much easier for me, so I'm not afraid to flip my painting or drawing. This edge right here, again, we want to quote unquote kill the edge, soften out the edge, so that it's a form turning into a form versus a form hitting that edge and disrupting the way the eye sees the form, right? The visual continuity along the surface of the drawing, which is important. Pulling in some more darks in here. That's all the way up. I don't love that. I'm going to sneak up on that edge instead of making it so dark. So the opacity is probably, what is that, 50%? Yeah, around 50%. Come in, I see this dark through here. Again, just kind of tapping it in gently. There's this core shadow here, or terminator line, which is really beautiful on this part of the leg. This is really dark, the shadow underneath, which I didn't get to do the wheelbarrow or the bucket, the whiskey barrel. Everyone says it's water coming out of there. I think it's whiskey. Rob has a question. It would be awesome you could bring the Survivor exhibit to England. The War Museum may have a good place. Yeah, no, I painted a lot of survivors in London, actually. Ava Schloss lives in London. She lives kind of near Abbey Road. I had a grant from a collector to go and meet with survivors in Toronto, London, Warsaw, Los Angeles, and New Jersey. And so I think I met with 5 survivors in London. We were there for like 3 days, and I kind of went all over London and England to meet them. It was really awesome experience. We went from London to Warsaw. That was fun. And then Warsaw to Krakow, and we went to Auschwitz and filmed. We filmed all this stuff too. So there's actually a documentary that a filmmaker in Los Angeles is making on the project. I think there's a trailer on here if you guys look it up. Facing Survival. Oh, thanks, Militia. I'm butchering people's names, and I apologize. My horrible American accent. Just gets softer through here. The light, the reflected light from the barrel on his buttocks. It's all dad jokes. I apologize. This turns this way. I love the form. It's so cool. Again, I could probably work on this thing for another full day. This pulls up a little higher than I have it. This flattens out a little bit more through here. How's it going? Do we have anybody even out there anymore? 52 comments. That's a lot. That's awesome. Haven't heard any ideas for the hats, though. If you guys have any ideas for the store hats, I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. Oh, Melissa. That's cool. Where's everyone coming in from? Chris is England, I think, right? I know Jay's Vancouver. See what that looks like as we start to build up the form of the leg. Oh, that's a great idea. Vitruvian Man's face on the... That's a great idea. Hey, Steven, how's it going? Oh, Praying Hands by Durr. Yes. Utah. Those are great ideas. I have a whole list. Shayna came up with this idea of disruptive Disturbed Man, the Courbet, but there's not enough light and shadow. My favorite of the hats is pretty cool. The Velasquez one is so badass. I even did the Comedian, the banana, kind of fun. And I did R Mutt, which was one of my favorites because that's Duchamp. Mona Lisa, for some reason, wouldn't work. Like her eyes were just too small. Coming in and freshening up some of the darks here. There's like there's red undertones here that I have not captured. What are we doing? We're coming up on 12 o'clock. I have to go and work out. I'm going to go jump on. We're Peloton riders. I'm going to do a Peloton run on our tread. Girl with the Pro earring? Yes, that's one. I have that one. Face red heart shape. New Jersey. I used to live in Jersey. I grew up in Jersey, in South Jersey, near Philly. So I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. Thinking about what's coming on here. This shape is really interesting. I don't have this right. And this also too, that edge gets a little bit more truncated. So I'm going to come in here and slice that in just a little bit. And it gets carved in to the shadows. Oh, the Crazy Birds, that'd be cool, from the Hieronymus Bosch. I think they're so cool. So I bought one of those hats from this guy, Keith Williams, who has 5 Watt World, because I love guitar stuff now. I'm really getting into guitars as a hobby. And so that's where I'm getting the hats from. So they're embroidered. They're pretty cool. I think I'm doing them just for myself, though. My wife was like, "You're just making product that you want." And I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that what we would want?" I could definitely see them at like a museum gift shop or something. Go and get some work done and stop enjoying yourself. LOL. I know, right? I'm just chomping at the bit though. Well, I'm working on a skull and flowers painting in the studio right now, which is a lot of fun. And for a guitar amp head, and then really chomping at the bit just to move into the studio space, because he put all of the plugs are in now on the wall. The first 2 coats of paint are done. He wants to put some more coats of paint on. I'm gonna move to white chalk here really quick. And so it's getting so close. I'm just like, so close. But I still have a lot of painting I got to do before I move in, because I got to finish these paintings by January for a conference on guitar conference. So in Los Angeles. Oh, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up soon. And that means the worst part about wrapping up a live stream is coming up with a thumbnail, clickbaity, dad jokey thumbnail title. This is so cool through here. That, and also wrapping up, like making sure that I love the drawing so far. It's come out okay. I want to move back to dark here. This has been a lot of fun though. I think my next live will probably be in a week. Probably next week sometime. Today's Wednesday. Probably next Monday or Tuesday. We'll see. I think I'm going to definitely do a studio update soon because it's coming together pretty well. This is looking pretty good. I didn't get to the feet at all. Kind of soften those out a little bit. I think it could be a little lighter as I'm looking. The leg looks getting there. Could get a little darker. Let me put in just a little bit of a, oops, too dark. And change the opacity. Just like knock that back a little bit. Yeah, I'm really squinting at the screen. I don't know if you guys can see me. This reflected light is a lot lighter through here. Changing the so kind of come in with the eraser. Right through here, and it's kind of neat because then we have that sense of the Terminator line, which I can kind of throw in really quick to soften it out. So that idea of kind of going into smaller areas, but then also still not losing track of the larger areas. And it's really interesting thinking about darks is that you want to think about darks in relationship to the whole, right? So our eye works as an aperture. I talk about this a lot, so you guys have heard me on the feeds before talk about this. If we look at the dark areas too long within a sketch, we start to make them lighter than they actually appear. So by pulling away from our drawing, we can see that the darks are maybe lighter than they are or darker than they are. It's all about, it's easier to compare and see what's going on from a distance. And the reference has a nice warm kind of umbery vibe to it. I might just throw that in really quick because it's an iPad. I think we can do that. Find a nice kind of brown, red earth kind of vibe, color. That's definitely an overused word, right? Vibe. And the opacity is very, very light, just to glaze some warm into the drawing a little bit. See it, a little bit more juice to it in the hair, this part of the back. See that? Can do that too. It's kind of cool. This gets all kind of warmer. And because it's on another layer, this underplane here gets a little bit as well under the leg. This part of the leg. And it's an interesting thing though because the drawing is a little bit greener, so the background color can be a little greener. There's a little bit of warmth through the arm, up into here, basically all the darks get a little bit warmer, a little bit more kind of like a Conti crayon vibe. Kind of neat, you know? I'm not sure if that's in the real drawing. I haven't seen this real drawing. I'd love to see this real drawing in person. That'll be a life goal. Bucket list. What's your bucket list? To see a drawing. Kind of nerdy. Sorry, I totally missed your guys' questions. One of the cherubs cupids from Raphael's Madonna. That's a great idea. Oh, Caravaggio's Medusa. Yes. We have a bike, no tread. Yeah. Is that your Fox and Mulder? That's awesome. My Peloton is Painter 77, so you can tell how old I am and what I do for a living. And my wife is Art Chick Mama. She has like 5,000 rides or something insane. We've been kind of OG on there. where I think we got the bike 7 or 8 years ago now. We got the tread right during COVID. I like jogging versus biking. I want to get the rowing machine, but we don't have room for it in our house. We were at a hotel that had one of the rowing machines, and I was like, this is kind of cool, in Nashville. Okay, gorgeous. I'm going to jump off soon. Gonna just knock in some of the dark right there, right there. Throw in something for the foot. Awesome, guys. I like the warm. I'm going to kind of tone that down just a little bit because we can change the opacity here to right about there. Awesome. So I think we're good. Thanks, guys, for helping out with the demo and for the ideas and everything. It's really cool to learn. As I'm looking at it side by side, I see there's areas that I could fix in here, in here. It's like it's hard to not want to keep touching up the sketch, right? This gets a little lighter. This shape's a little bit broader through here. Coming and erasing that away a little bit. This shape gets cut in a little bit more. It's fun stuff. Awesome, guys. Probably maybe Monday is for streaming. I have to look to see what our schedule is, but it's gonna be probably a sketch like this, but of a full color of Santa. But it's gonna be, I want to make it look like an old drawing, which is gonna be kind of neat. I kind of love this using the iPad to make things look like they're old-fashioned kind of sketches. So probably the same type of paper and everything. It'll be a lot of fun. Awesome, guys. I will see you guys next time, and if you like this content, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification to know when I'm live doing stuff, and I'm leaving at the right time. You can hear the spoon hitting the plate. Awesome, guys. Take care. Have a good one. Cheers.